There are 6 units in the curriculum of class 12th mathematics. First is relations and functions. Its weightage is 10%. Second is algebra, weightage is 13%. Calculus, weightage is 44%. This is actually the highest weightage unit. Fourth unit is vectors and three-dimensional geometry, weightage is 17%. Linear programming, weightage is 6%. Probability, weightage is 10%. Total 100. Now, in these units, we have various chapters also. So let's say first unit is relations and functions. Now, relations and functions has, the various parts of the relations and function is types of relations, that is reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. If a relation set is having all the three types, that is reflexive, symmetric, as well as transitive, it is called equivalence relation. Then about functions, type of function is one-to-one and onto. Then you have composite functions, inverse of a function, binary operation. Now, second chapter of the relation and function is inverse trigonometric functions. Now, in the inverse trigonometric functions, we have definition of inverse trigonometric function, range, domain, principal value branch, then graphs of inverse trigonometric functions, elementary properties of inverse trigonometric functions. After that, you have unit number 2, that is algebra. Now, there are also 2 chapters. First is matrices, and matrices, you have this concept, notation, order, equality, types of matrices, that is zero, identity, transpose of a matrix, symmetric and skew-symmetric matrices. After that, you have operations like addition, multiplication, and multiplication with a scalar, simple properties of matrices, that is addition, multiplication, and scalar multiplication. Apart from that, there is a very important property which is known as the commutativity. Commutative means A into B should be equal to B into A. However, this particular condition is not satisfied in general in case of matrices. So, non-commutativity of multiplication of matrices. Then, in general, you have A into B is equal to 0 for real numbers. If A into B is 0, then either A is 0 or B is 0, both are 0. Whereas in matrices, yes, you can find a matrix A which is not 0, non-zero, B is also non-zero, but the product is a 0 matrix. So that's what is a chapter of matrices. Then concept of elementary row and column operations. There are 3 elementary row operations, 3 elementary column operations. Then invertible matrices, and then you have uniqueness of inverse if it exists. Then that was chapter number 1 of algebra unit. Second chapter of unit 2, that is algebra, is determinants. Now, determinants is a normal basis of a square. Determinant is basically for a square matrix only. So, in your syllabus, you have up to 3x3 matrices only. Then what are the properties of determinants, minors, cofactors, and applications of determinants in finding the area of a triangle, adjoint and inverse of a square matrix. And then consistency, inconsistency, and number of solutions of system of linear equations. Now here, we will solve this system of linear equations by using elementary row transformations. Solving this in maybe 2 or 3 variables also. And then you can use inverse of a matrix also. Now, third unit is calculus, and there are 5 chapters in the calculus. First chapter is continuity and differentiability. Now, continuity and differentiability, in this chapter you have a topic as continuity and differentiability, derivative of composite function, chain rule, derivatives of inverse trigonometric functions, derivative of implicit function, concept of. Now here you see that concept of exponential and logarithmic functions is required because ultimately you have to finally find the derivative of these functions. Then logarithmic differentiation. This is something very important because if you have a function to the power some function, let's say x to the power sine x, right? Then to find the derivative of that, you need this logarithmic differentiation method. Then derivative functions expressed in parametric forms, second order derivatives. Then there are two theorems, Rolle's and Lagrange's mean value theorem. Is geometric interpretation also. Second chapter of this third unit is application part, that is applications of derivatives. There are various applications. Some of these applications are there in your syllabus. Applications of derivatives, rate of change of bodies, increasing, decreasing functions, tangents and normals, to find tangent and normal using derivatives. Use of derivatives in approximation, maxima and minima. Then maximum and minima, you see the thing is that first derivative test motivated generally geometrically, and second derivative test given as a probability. So there are two ways. One is the first derivative test, another is the second derivative test. Then you have certain problems based on this. Now, next chapter of this particular unit calculus is integrals. And integrals, have various topics. That's integration as inverse process of differentiation. That's how you have to show it. Integration of a variety of functions by various methods. That is substitution, partial fraction, and by parts. Now, evaluation of simple integral of the following types and problems based on them. So these are the 11 type of integrals, like dx upon x square plus minus a square, and so on and so forth. You have various integrations. Then after that you have definite integrals. See, difference between definite integral and indefinite is definite integrals you have limits also in the lower limit as well as upper limit, and indefinite integral has no limit. Now, first of all, you express definite integrals as a limit of a sum. You have two fundamental theorems of calculus: basic properties of definite integrals and evaluation of definite integrals. Then next chapter of this unit is applications of the integrals. Now, in the applications of the integrals, you have to, the first chapter is applications, is finding the area under certain curves like lines, circles, parabolas, and ellipse. Then area between two of these curves, between two curves, like the one which I mentioned. Then the next chapter or the last chapter of this unit is differential equations. Now, in the differential equations, it's a definition, order and degree of the differential equation, general and particular solution, formation of differential equation when the general solution is given, solution of differential equations by method of separation of variables, then solutions of homogeneous differential equation of first order and first degree, solutions of linear differential equation. Now, these linear equations are of the type, maybe dy by dx plus py 0 to q, or dx by dy plus px 0 to q. And so that was about third unit, which has actually maximum weightage in your examination. And the next unit, which is the fourth, is vectors and 3D geometry or three-dimensional geometry. First chapter of this unit is vectors. Now, in the vectors, you have vectors and scalars, magnitude and direction of a vector, direction cosines and direction ratios of a vector, types of vectors like equal, unit, zero, parallel, and collinear vectors, position vector of a point, negative of a vector, components of a vector. Now, addition, after that you have certain operations on vectors, that is addition of vectors, multiplication of a vector by a scalar, position vector of a point, dividing a line segment in a given ratio, definition, geometrical interpretation, properties and application of dot product and cross product of vectors, and lastly, this scalar triple product of vectors. Now, after that, in the fourth unit, you have three-dimensional geometry. In the 3D geometry, you have direction cosines and direction ratios of a line joining 2 points, Cartesian equation and vector equation of a line, coplanar and skew lines, shortest distance between two lines, Cartesian and vector equation of a plane, and then you have angle between two lines, two planes, a line and a plane, and finally distance of a point from a plane. Now, that was about the unit number 4. Fifth unit is linear programming, and the topic is also linear programming only. So, introduction of linear programming, related terminologies such as constraints, these all constraints, objective function, optimization, they will be used in the linear programming problems. And different type of linear programming problems, mathematical formulation of LPP, graphical method of solution of problems in two variables. Then feasible and infeasible reason, bounded or unbounded, feasible and infeasible solutions, optimal feasible solutions. So that was, unit number 5. Last unit of this curriculum is probability, and topic is also probability. And then, some preliminary part you have already completed in the earlier classes. You have conditional probability, multiplication theorem on probability, independent events, total probability, then a very, very important theorem about the conditional probability is Bayes theorem. After that, you have random variable and its proper probability distribution. Now it's a probability distribution, mean and variance of random variable. There are actually 3 distributions mainly: binomial, Poisson, and normal distribution. However, in your syllabus, it's only repeated independent Bernoulli price and only binomial distribution. Now let's come to the question wise breakup. Like type of questions, very short answer. Okay, there will be 4 questions and total marks will be 4 because each question carries normally 1 mark. Then short answer question, there are 8 questions, 2 mark, and then 16 total marks. Long answer, 4 marks question, long answer, and then long answer 6 marks question. So long answer 1, long answer 2. 4 marks means there will be 11 questions, 44 marks, and long answer 2, that is 6 questions and total 36 marks. So there will be total 29 questions of 100 marks. There is no choice given to you as far as total question is concerned, but yes, internal choices are given in some questions. Now, if you come to the typology of questions, that is remembering. So, what exactly is remembering? Of course, let me first tell you that remembering, very short answer 2, then short answer 2, long answer 4 marks 2, and long answer 2, 6 marks 1. In all, remembering you will have 20 marks. And then what is remembering actually? Remembering means actually knowledge-based simple recall questions to know specific facts, terms, concepts, principles or theories. Identify, define or receive information. Then next type of typology of question is understanding. In the understanding, you have very short answers 1, short answers 3, long answer 1, that is 4 marks 4, and long answer 2, that is 6 marks 2. So in all, understanding means there will be 35 marks questions. What is the meaning of understanding? That is those questions where comprehension to be familiar with meaning and to understand conceptually. Interpret, compare, contrast, explain, paraphrase information. And the third type of question or typology of question is application. So here you see very short answer, only 1 question. Long answer 4 is 3, and then long answer 2 is 2. Total 25 marks. In fact, what is application? Application means use abstract information in complete situation to apply knowledge to new situations, to use given content to interpret a situation, provide an example or solve a problem. Now after that, typology of questions, you have high order thinking skills. No very short answer question, short answer 3, long answer 1, that is 4 marks, and not only 10 marks. So high order thinking skills, the weightage is only 10%. And what is high order thinking skills as far as these questions are concerned? Analysis and synthesis, classify, compare, contrast or differentiate between different pieces of information, organize and integrate unique pieces of information from a variety of sources. And then the last one is the evaluation. So evaluation, very short, no. Short also no. Long answers, yes. 1 question of long answer and 1 question of long answer 2. That is 4 marks and 6 marks. So total again the weight is 10% only. And what do they expect in the evaluation? Appraise, judge, justify the value or worth of a decision or outcome, or to predict outcomes based on values.